Welcome back to our next interactive session. We have with us Kamna Patel. Before we start the conversation, just to briefly introduce Kamna. Kamna is based in Mumbai. She's a visual artist and a bookmaker. In 2010, she received a scholarship to study photography at the Parsons Paris College of Arts, for whom she is currently the ambassador in Asia and the Middle East. In 2019, she launched her publishing imprint, Jojo. Now, I think when we talk about the internet and the lockdown, one of the key themes that has emerged is really the theme of travel. Whether people have not been or have been able to travel for work, travel for emergency, travel for leisure, this is something that has recurrently come up, especially in the last 8-9 months or in the last 1 year. And here is Kamna, who's taken the theme of travel. In fact, this is a travel that she was going to do with her mother. And this is a travel that never happened. And turning this into a creative project, here is Kamna creating a body of still images that explore notions of nostalgia, temporality, hyperreality, and alienation in the age of technology and the internet. Over to you, Kamna. Do tell us about why you came upon this theme and what your process of working on this project has been like.
Thank you so much, Sunna, for that introduction. So as you mentioned, I started this project in the lockdown with my mother, and it was just a way to kind of keep ourselves engaging meaningfully and to come up with something that is both allowing us to think about the time that we're in and can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
So allowing us to think of the time that we're in and just kind of making sense of the time we're living in and do that in a way that's something that's fun and engaging for us as well. And that's kind of how it came about. I mean, I can share with you a few images maybe and tell you a little bit about the process if you like. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Okay, and you can see the Jojo logo on it at the moment?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So, before I go into the project, I'll just say a few words about about my practice and locate it in my practice, and maybe that'll help contextualize my approach to this work. So as you said, I run a platform called Jojo, which started off as a publishing imprint and has expanded into a photo book library, which is currently housed at the Trilogy Library and Bookshop in Mumbai. And the library was donated by the Mind Collective. And I'm also very excited to share that the second publication of Jojo is now out on the website, if that's something you want to see eventually. But in my practice, I'm interested in exploring the periphery of photography as documentation and of its linguistic potential. So I believe that in the moments where photography breaks down, particularly in abstraction, this illusion of reality is punctured. And when this happens, images have the power to become a mirror for our minds and to move us to epiphanic experiences. And because photography is so closely related to the visible, tangible world, that when an image distorts the world it documents, it breaks that fourth wall. And so the work that's being supported by this grant was titled Take a Picture, and it's made within this framework and in collaboration with my mother, as we said earlier. So we did take the COVID-19 lockdown as an opportunity to simulate these travels to my mother's dream destinations, because, well, like I mentioned, that my mother was a travel agent for 30 years, and now she's finally at the end of her kind of her career as a travel agent, because mainly because of COVID and because of the global circumstances. And I was also mourning the loss of travel in my job this year, which has quickly become Zoom travel. And I think, and we also travel together at least once a year to decompress and also as a way of experiencing life. So uh, this project, I think, was just a general response to, our present environment and all the changes that came with it. And the title is because, well, my mother loves to have a photograph taken, and every time we go on holiday or do something fun, this is kind of her mantra. It says take, and so she gives me the phone and she'll say take a picture, and then she'll go and pose in front of something. So it was just a kind of playful subject to reference that. And if you can see can you see the graphic here, which has take a picture written on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, so basically, this was a graphic that I took from this little album that you can see here, and just kind of scanned it and did the titling of it. So, and this album was, we have a whole bunch of these albums where we have our archives of holiday photos in. So it was just playing with that a little bit, and trying to bring that into the story as well. So there are these images I made using like multiple visual components, images from her archive, screenshots from Google Street View, desktop wallpapers that I found on the internet, and images captured through the laptop computer's lens as well, which was my main capture device. And the simulations are created on Zoom using the program's virtual background feature. So it was very much about integrating that technology into the storytelling process and into this idea of virtual travel. And I believe that the popularity of Zoom at this time is really a cornerstone for our present times, and it marks a permanent shift, in my opinion, in our dependency on telecommuting. And staying connected through Zoom for many of us has helped us deal with the isolation in the last year, and it's also saved many of our jobs in many ways. So but at the same time, it also, that meeting in this virtual space led to more isolation after the fact than we would have imagined or uh, perceived in the moment of those virtual interactions. So I was very interested in exploring the architecture of this platform as an alternate dimension, if I can say that. And so coming back to travel, when I think of tourism, this is the kind of images that immediately come to mind because of the fact that we are constantly being bombarded by them every day, all the time, through social media or through advertising. And it is the industry and this heightened connectivity and media that have turned all these places into these hyper real objects of desire, or into destinations, so to speak. And this is the same industry that takes these experiences and turns them into commodities, and takes portraits and turns them into performances that are made to be communicated via social media. And it's like Jean Baudrillard in Simulacra and Simulation speaks of simulation and the hyperreal, saying that there was once life which was the model for simulation, but now the simulation is what's modeling our realities. And there comes a point where maybe you can't even distinguish between what is a simulation and what is reality anymore. And it was this thought that kind of led me into this exploration as well. And for example, we would now maybe pick our travel destinations to have the opportunity to take a pose selfie in front of the beach, because we would have seen this image and considered it an ideal reality that we would want to live. And then eventually this ideal is a manufactured reality that's been constructed by the tourism industry. So in that sense, reality is imitating these simulations and vice versa. And so all of these thoughts and impulses kind of manifested into this form, which is kind of what the images look like at this stage in the project. And Take a Picture as a thought experiment is driven by a few of the ideas that I previously mentioned, and other ideas that I'm still trying to pull apart. So of course, we've spoken about the theme of travel and technology, but you can always expand on travel as travel through space, through time, via the internet, in the mind, through images, through simulations, as facilitated by our current state of technology. And then there's also the theme of language. So a Whorfianistic approach to the understanding of images as language, and images having the potential if we understand them as language, to change our understanding of the world, and so also our perception of time. And to me, time implodes in these images. So the archive meets the present moment within a virtual space, and the goal for that is to simulate a longed for or a perceived future. And one of my references for this work was Kurt Vonnegut. So in a chapter in Slaughterhouse Five, he writes about the aliens called Tralfamadorians who explain their written language to the protagonist Billy Pilgrim. And these aliens use symbols instead of letters, and each symbol conveys a complex thought or incident and an embodiment of how they perceive time. So I'm just going to give you a quick quote from the book, which says that, and they're talking about their books when they say this, that there is no beginning, no middle, no end, no suspense, no cause, no effect. What we love in our books is the depths of many marvelous moments seen at one time. And this is really how I think of images, as aphorisms that are able to pack in complex thought that's outside of linear time. And the other theme is that of memory. So again, in this book, these aliens advise Billy Pilgrim that if humans would just remember only the good moments and let go of the bad ones, they would not suffer. And this got me to think about, what does it mean to remember only good moments, and how are our modern social media archives propagating this idea of a so-called utopia. And so then, are we manufacturing these memories or these ideals through images? And if we are, then are we also manufacturing truths through these images? And how does that, what effect is that going to have on the way we eventually form our memories, but also on how we behave? And so by extension, I'm questioning the medium itself and the commodification of image making by the tourism industry and its impact on behavior. And in practice, I very much like this idea of collaboration and performance in the image making process, because I think that the act of making images with somebody you love or with somebody you care for, or who is an integral part of your life, then reinforces that relationship. And it takes both people out of this, of your comfort zone or of your complacency, and it helps you see your own reality differently. And then the images just become a trigger for that memory and for that reality, instead of a direct representation of that moment, if that makes sense. So take a
Yeah.
picture on one level is a performance, and on another level it is a documentation of an individual as well as a collective experience at a moment in our own, but also in technology's history, so to speak. So the scope of such collaborations, especially with my mother, are infinite, because it's really just a way of tying our existences, like which run parallel in for the most part. So to tie those together in a meaningful way while questioning the things we take for granted. And this work is still at a very early stage, and I'm still trying to find the right medium of expression for it. I don't know if it's going to be in a book. I don't know if it should be a virtual experience. All I know is that right now it exists as images, and the process that went with it was what I just explained. And as you can probably tell, I'm grappling with a web of ideas, much like the web of information on the World Wide Web. And there are many more strains of thought that really need to be pulled apart. And so I think the goal with this work finally is to make sense of and catalog all this information in the most coherent and effective way before it can reach an audience.
Great.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Kamna. So when I was actually going through the link, and for all audience members here, Kamna's work is available at the link that you'll find in the comments section. So please go through it, or most of you might have already seen them. So what I felt when I went through these images is, because I'm a traveler as well, and I just love to explore. So one of the things that strongly came to my mind is the idea of physicality. Now, travel is so much about the sensory and the physical. So I was wondering what it might have meant for you to sort of take inspiration from a physical experience that might have been, and then translate it into something that is a hyper real kind of experience.
Right. So, I mean, all of actually the first experiments were based on, or at least the trips were based on itineraries from my mother's travel agency. So she would kind of pull up these itineraries of okay, today let's go to Japan. And then she'd pull out an itinerary, a 7-day itinerary for Japan. And I kind of went on a Google Street View tour, based on that itinerary to, kind of capture images of these places in real, well, sort of real time on Google Street View. And of course, the pattern is something that I know well because it's something we've done so often. And we have these documents as her archive as well. So, we usually have this pattern of where we'll go to certain places to check off certain boxes in the itinerary, and then she'd always want a picture in front of them. And of course we have very different styles of traveling normally, but when we're together it becomes like a kind of a hybrid of these two. So I think this work is kind it's that as well. It's like meeting in a virtual space from you know like her style of traveling to my style of traveling, if that makes sense.
Great. And I also love the idea that, there is so much potential and so much possibilities to be explored when you're collaborating with somebody. Say in this case it's your mother, it could be your friend, somebody who comes in from a completely different angle, right? And how that could blossom into a lovely creative project. So this is a fantastic example of that, because often we find, say, two artists coming together, or a group of people from different kinds of artistic practices coming together. But here it's a different kind of collaboration that you're talking about, and it's fantastic to see how it can manifest into a project like this. So it's also interesting that you spoke that this project might have a future in terms of becoming a book, or do you have any concrete thoughts on that as of now?
I have so many ideas and so many different directions that this work can take. But it's something that I'm going to have to think about. I'm wondering if this should be, just live in the virtual space, and maybe it doesn't ever need to live on paper. Maybe it can take on, everything that the book form has to offer, and kind of dissect that experience and bring it into a virtual space. But that would involve coding, and it would involve a lot of you know technical know-how. So I'm working on that. I'm reading a little more about it, and trying to speak with creative coders and see what can come of it. But I think it'll still be a while before any of that
Great.
manifests.
Thank you, Kamna. Thank you so much. And audience members, please do go check out Kamna's work. And if you have questions, you can always reach out to Kamna. You can also post your questions here in the comment section. And we'll be back with another session with another grantee of us. Thank you so much, Kamna.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.